Right, I'm here at the park and kind of go over what microeconomics is all about and hear some noises of the fellow park goers. So I want to talk about externalities a little bit right now. And externalities was, I'm trying to make this video and there's people talking around me at the park and shouting and having a good time. And so that's kind of some noise that might negatively affect what you end up hearing here. So hopefully you guys can hear me. So a externality is when you're producing a product or when you're consuming a product and somebody other than the buyer or seller is going to be affected. So for example, we talked about today, the flu vaccine, the COVID vaccine, any kind of vaccine. You consume it, you get the vaccine, but other people are affected. Negative externality, you have a party at your house, you get sound system, you get a lot of noise. That's negatively maybe affecting your neighbor who's trying to sleep, trying to study, right? So if you consume something like, music, Spotify, Amazon Music, CDs, vinyl, whatever, but you got a loud sound system and it's hearable from a few houses down, that's going to be negative for some people around you. Okay, so economics is talking about and modeling some of these things that happen with our interactions, but it's in the framework of something we call the markets. And so the markets involve demand and supply. And what does that mean? It just means that they're buyers and sellers of a product. So for macroeconomics, we're thinking about the country as a whole, and we're thinking about things like, should we have a big stimulus? Should everybody get money? And should we care about inflation when we give a lot of people money, that there's going to be a lot of money chasing a fixed set of goods? But we're really concerned with individual markets, individual firm decision-making, consumer decision-making. And specifically, you're not thinking about cutting taxes generally or giving subsidies generally and whether we should do that. We're thinking about particular markets, specific markets. Should you subsidize corn? Should you subsidize education? Should you tax cigarettes? Should you tax sodas? And so in the case of externalities, we have something called a market failure. And market failures are really, really important for the argument that we need the government to intervene. If we don't have any market failures, what that means is that the market, buyers and sellers interacting without any government, is what's going to drive the most efficient allocation of resources. That means markets should decide the price, and markets should decide how much gets produced. And effectively, it decides who gets those products by deciding that anybody who can't pay for it doesn't get it. Okay? And so externalities, third-party effects, are a big part of the argument for education. They're a big part of the argument for why the flu vaccine should be free. And it says the noise that's going on here, the question is, should we tax or put penalties on people who play loud music? Or if I'm trying to record for the class, should we care about what should happen here if I want it to be quiet for recording? All right, so I'm going to pause here. That's a little bit on externalities, more on that later.